What happens when the predator becomes the prey? Find out today! I'm Zach, and this is a Literary Tailor, where we have great books and even better conversations. And today, it's The Innocent. So, let's get into it, guys. The Innocent features Will Robbie. Will Robbie isn't your typical hero or main protagonist that you kind of want to root for, because Will Robbie is an assassin. Will Robbie's assigned to eliminate other people by his employers or handlers. And being an assassin, he has these skills that are unmatched. His marksmanship is unmatched. So, for him to eliminate someone else is just another day at the office for Will Robbie. As mentioned, Will Robbie's job as an assassin is pretty much what he's told to do, pretty much to eliminate someone else. And for this role, he doesn't ask too many questions. He's just given the order and he fulfills it so greatly that he's one of the top assassins in this field. So for Will Robbie, any question against his handlers and employers are just out of the question until now. When Will Robbie is given an assignment, he doesn't question it. He just looks at the name on the paper and he fulfills the deed, if you will. So when he's given an assignment to assassinate a woman, that he doesn't really question it because he figures that his employers or handlers had a reason why they wanted her 6 feet down in the ground. So when he arrives to do his job, somehow this assignment feels off. And it truly is, because this is the night that changes everything for him, because this is the night where he becomes the hunted. It's on this night that Robbie decides to go against his handlers and employers because he was ordered to kill someone of the United States of America. And this decline, if you will, of this job, what leads him to be the one that becomes hunted and the one who needs to be eliminated by his employers. And it's through these actions that he becomes intertwined with this 14-year-old girl named Julie. Julie is a very intelligent girl, but her past reveals a troubling secret because it's on this same night as Robbie's job that her parents are murdered themselves. It's through this relationship between Robbie and Julie where I start to question a rather deeper meaning of this book. As I'm supposed to root for a guy that does really terrible things, well, he's an assassin, but it gets me questioning how I can root for him. And it's through Julie, his actions start to really reveal the true person that is Robbie. He's not just a typical cold-blooded killer. He's actually more of a human than I thought. And it's through these actions with Julie of this almost like paternal relationship, if you will, this guardianship that shows truly who Robbie truly is deep down. I sat back with the book in my hands, page after page, chapter after chapter. There's one area of this book that really hit me. It's this growing relationship between Robbie and Julie. This almost paternal, almost daughter-like, but almost like a protector or guardian that Will becomes for Julie. And what really hits me is Julie wants revenge for her parents' murder. So much so, she wants to be the one that actually does it. What Robbie does is something I didn't expect. He tries to not encourage her to go through with it. So he wants her not to become who he is. So for me, this idea of Robbie, of what he was in the beginning of all this, starts to erase and starts to show the true person that's inside Robbie as this there's almost like a caring nature of him, even though he's still an assassin. He wants to be the best, or wants to continue protecting Julie even from herself and from her actions she wants to do. So this for me is a big turning point for me, how I saw Robbie. For me, feeling any sort of positive towards Robbie is sort of weird, because in the end, he's still an assassin. So I shouldn't show any sympathy towards a man that chooses to end others' lives without even a thought, without even emotion of himself. He just does it like almost like a robot, almost like a zombie, or pretty much just forced to do the task without no emotions inside. So for me to almost sympathize with Robbie through this relationship with Julie felt kind of wrong, but for me, It's through this relationship that I start to question rather how it's not so much black and white as I sometimes feel about the world. It's more gray as we know it. It's through Julie and Robbie's relationship that it starts to expose more of a question, almost like my morals, that this world is not really black and white. There's not good guys and bad guys. It's a mix. Obviously, Robbie is not the best guy. Obviously, he's an assassin. So, for me to root for him just feels weird, feels off. So, but it's through this relationship that he begins with Julie, this almost father figure, stepping for her, that starts to expose the true. There's a true nature, a true character underneath everyone, even if they do something terrible. One of the key pillars of this channel is identity. Identity, courage, fear, and hope. And so when Will Robbie starts to question his own identity, this is when I start to really think about it more, because this is one of the pillars. So when Robbie starts to question his own identity, I start to question it a lot more, because Robbie once saw himself as a cold-blooded assassin. Now it becomes a father figure almost. Often not even the action of his own either. So Robbie starts to question whether if he's just this cold-blooded monster or just killer, or he's more than something. As we follow Robbie, we start to see the real man inside, that he's still a human after all. He loves still, he cares, and he still shows some human side of him, even though a lot of it's deep down. Through this new identity crisis, that Robbie starts to really want to pursue the actual justice in this story. He wants to bring justice for Julie and her parents, as well as the people that are being hurt around him. So for me, he wants to become more of a just a shadow figure that's used in the for his enemies. He wants to become this almost like a new person, if you will, a new identity. He wants to become this new person that can be relied on almost, even if the task still includes doing what he is best at, if you will. As he becomes, steps away from being an assassin, if you will, to become more of the FBI, if you will. Well, he tricks his way in. And it's through this identity from assassin through FBI that he starts to reveal himself a lot more, and it becomes apparent that he becomes a lot more fierce in protecting Julie, more fierce to protect the people around him. And then he wants to really bring justice in the end, which I think is a big thing from the beginning for Robbie, because he's often the one that gives the justice out. He's the executioner. So for him, bringing the justice, even though he's not the one to deliver it, is still a big solution for him. For me, there's another character that I have to question. It's Annie. Annie is a woman that lived in Robbie's apartment complex, or at least one of them, and she becomes almost becomes his lover. But this is where the real darkness, if you will, because Annie is also what he is, if you will. However, she was almost not given an option, if you will, to become this. But for Robbie, he had an option. He had a choice to become an assassin. But for Annie, being an assassin was the only thing that she ever knew. So this brought a interesting idea of what the real darkness is. But for me, the real darkness is the internal struggle that we all have to feel, even if we have to feel in Robbie's shoes, where we have to question if our own identity, our own crisis is something that we can truly avoid, or something that we can even change. As Robbie starts to accept this new identity, we start to realize that his trusting, if it was there in the beginning, is more of a question, because he starts to question a lot of people in his life. He doesn't hold a lot of trust. The only people he even trusts in the story is really Julie. And it's for this idea that we start to question, who is the real enemy in this story? Is it the ones that Robbie is supposed to eliminate, or the ones behind the scenes, the puppet masters, if you will? And for me, this is where I have to question, who stays clean while the others bleed? And for me, this is a question that is going to resonate as I start to think about the story a lot more. As I am able to close the book and set it aside, I'm able to really question and review the book as I do with all my books and all my reviews. I ask myself, will this book linger with me? And yes, it will. It shows me a deep, dark reality that might be real in some ways. Also, it shows me that there is really true courage and true ability to change, even though it might lay dormant. That change can still be something that can be pursued in the end. A lot of questions resonate with me even today as I long finish the book. One of the questions is, who really is the true enemy? The ones that we're told, or the ones that we don't know about or ignore, or if you will, are in the shadows, almost puppet masters? Are they the true enemies that we should really think about? Also, another question that I thought was, how even if we're able to change, how will it impact the identity part of us? There you guys have it, The Innocent. I recommend this book for anyone that enjoys these type of stories. Drop a comment below if there's a story that you had to question, that rather root for this character, the main character, if you will, based on what deeds they might do. And if you enjoy stories about courage, fear, and hope, like and subscribe now so you don't miss the next future videos and discussions that we have here on A Literary Tailor. Until then, guys, happy reading.